I'm set up right now outside of River Road right here in Dixon. And here's something that I would, I'm sure it's probably pretty obvious to most people that go out there and do metal detecting, but I don't think it was readily as obvious to me until I had been out on a few of these hunts and had some time to really think about how geography affects our ability to find things. And one of the things here that we're at today outside of River Road is if you notice the riverfront, trying to effectively document it. It was not like this 5 months ago. It's completely changed. So if you see all the rock that's located here, um, this has really been under development for quite some time in the last few years. So with that said, they pushed a lot of rock out into here that's not normally here. And one of the things, again, observations, everything. The reason I even cued in on this place as a possibility was because the fishermen. They're out here fishing, right? They're always finding these great spots, and you know, wherever it's a good spot to fish, typically those are places that other guys would have fished too. I found a couple of keys down here, and I mean, all of this stuff is just clues to age, usage, and all that. So DBC. This glass looks like it could have been bulletproof glass. So initially, like when I came out here today, I'm trying to work through my own process of when I try to locate targets. This is a wash basin, and years ago, there's documentation in the story of Lee County. It's a 600-page book, and there's some documentation that talks about the Indians staying near here where there's an artesian well. It talks about specifically that. And down the way, I'm going to turn the camera towards this way, so if it's facing the front, look down that way. There's a red caravan or red van. Directly up the river, you'll see a tall almond shape or burgundy color. Oh, not burgundy, I'm crazy. But the tall building there in the distance that you can see, I'm pointing right towards it. The adjacent building is the City of Dixon's water plant, and that's like Artesian Road or whatever. Anyhow, there's stories, because if you see the power plant here, somewhere in that area is where the rope ferry with Father Dixon used to have. It talks about the Indians. They used to stay in this area, and access to water was obviously important to them, and fresh spring water apparently was what they were really interested in at the time. So I would not be completely surprised if where this water is coming from might have actually been the real location, and I believe that I need to find out, but I think the company there could be tapping. There is a well pump, but it might not be the only artesian well. There is a huge amount of water that's coming out of this area. I'm going to take you back here, and it's just naturally flowing, and it feels really cold and clean. I'm not 100% sure where it's coming from, but yeah, I mean, you know what? It would not surprise me if this was the original spring, and these guys were able to tap into that spring somehow. So I would like to be on the lookout for artifacts, Indian arrowheads, things like that, any of that stuff. But you got to look at where it's washing out. The water's heading down toward the water plant, and it's had a lot of years to move stuff. I did find some keys, and that makes me hopeful to think that, keys and coins, not a whole lot different as far as size and whatnot. So I'm going to show you again. That's the spring. We just passed about, I would say, 20 yards behind in that direction. As you can turn your GoPro, that's towards the river. First I thought it was a coin because I couldn't see the tip of it, but like there's a tip of it. I mean, you can see if there was sand covering that, you would think, oh man, I found a coin, score. But you know what? It weighs more than most coins. It feels like it's brass, and we have to look at it a little bit later, but I'm going to look a bit into here. I'm not going to go too far. So I'm going to bring you with me a bit, and I guess we'll see what happens. I should test this area and see what kind of, if there is anything in this area. I believe it would have been shot out of here and pushed farther down the way, unless it's a larger chunk of metal, which would just mean it could be just junk. And this is a newer culvert. It's not very old culvert, so bear with me while I try to study it, and okay. Hope nobody got seasick during that. it's bringing up the same zinc, but it's doing an awful lot of fluctuating here, so let's take a look. Probably just junk. Could be a can. Yeah, I'm not getting anything in there. Alright. First live dig, complete failure there. But really this is more about documenting what I can't see or what's happening around me. A couple little points of interest again. Looking for arrowheads, artifacts that we need to find. I don't know what this is, but it's definitely manufactured. Probably just a junk piece of a plate. Cup. You know, these always, to me, these always look like arrowheads. It's really hard to find them. Here in Illinois, to my knowledge, we just don't have good places that produce the type of flint that Indians really needed. And again, from what I've read, don't take my word for it, look it up, but if you can find the right material, typically you'll be able to find. Way too sensitive. Alright, for the record, I think this is a bad idea, but we only live once, and it really is cool. It looks like the old part of Route 2. You can see, like, brick road. Casing. It looks like something over in Europe. I mean, we just don't see this kind of stuff anywhere around here. Piece of a handle to a. Okay, you know what? Here's how we're gonna do. Sorry for getting seasick watching this, but it's gonna be. It might not even be worth it going in here because it's gonna be so dark. I'm not even sure that we're gonna be able to see what I'd like you to see. But we're over top of a road. Yeah, I don't know what that sound was. So here we go. I think I'm gonna. Okay, I don't think you can be able to see much in here, but we're gonna take a look. Hopefully, you'll be able to see something. That's the actually in here. That cave goes back a lot further. I could see light under there, but there's light above us. I need a light before I do that. Where's that light in the tunnel? Okay. Now to get it focused at hand. And start looking for some artifacts. There's a ton of bottles up here that are old. But the fact that I found those coins, I mean those keys that look like coins, pardon me, makes me believe I should hang out down toward the river.